Well, well, well. That was short-lived, wasn't it? Yes, I'm back. But Dina is back. Look, the reason why I wanted to have a chat with you today is while my big sister was here on holiday, she raised a really good concern. And I thought, you know what? No better than YouTube to raise that concern and to address it. Woolworths, the fresh food people, say they're Australian owned. Yep. And I got to give it to them. They do help locals, with their business. I buy home brand tomatoes and I put that in my vegetarian pasta. And those tomatoes are sourced from local farmers. Not just local farmers, but Australian farmers. A lot of their goods, their home brand, a lot of it is Australian produce, which effectively is helping a lot of farmers out there that are really going tough at the moment, not just because of the climate, but because of the economic climate as well, not the actual weather climate. One thing she raised to me was, the 15-cent bags they're now charging, or they will be charging after the 8th. She told me that their bags there in Sydney were made in Germany. And I thought, what? Then I looked at my bag. And guess what? My bag was made in Thailand. Why aren't we keeping work within our own country? There are how many people unemployed at the moment? Here are these politicians telling us that there's 19%, let's say it's 19% of the Australian population without work. That's a hell of a lot of unemployment. That's a hell of a lot of taxes we're not collecting. It's really unfair. This could mean 20,000 maybe process workers over Australia working on and off for I don't know however long to make these bags. That's keeping 20,000 people in jobs in Australia, not only paying their taxes, but also getting their fair share of work. We're sending these things overseas. Why is the question mark? A big why, actually. It's not fair. Yes, it's fair to those other countries. And yes, it's fair that we have bags made for a quarter of the cost. And that perhaps one bag over there costs a quarter of a cent to be made, and yet here it might be worth 5 cents to be made. Because we're talking wholesale amounts. We're talking hundreds of thousands of bags. And this is why the Australian government recently culled plastic bags. You get to choose what you take shopping with you. If you want one of these bags, great. Pay for a bag and reuse it, because chances are you are going to reuse the bag if you do purchase it. It's 15 cents. And yes, we will sometimes use these as rubbish bags, but then I also use them to put my son's swimming stuff in there, dirty clothes, clean clothes. My sister-in-law recently came up to Queensland for a trip, and she has got a chronic back condition as well. So she couldn't reach to get her bag from up on top of the cupboard without being unsafe. So she used these bags to pack. I mean, she was only visiting her mother up here. There was no major, she hasn't been up here for yonks. So to be honest, she packed her bags and left, her and her partner. So shame on you, Woolworths, shame on you. I can't believe it. And on your docket it says Woolworths, the fresh food people, and you're proud to be known as Australian owned. Big no-no. Big no-no. I could probably even say that I'd be happier to bring my Aldi bags and use it for Woolworths shopping without having to buy any more of your Woolworths bags. Don't ask me how other people feel about this, but me, I'd rather use my Aldi bags. Yes, they do go. I don't know where they're actually made. I should really investigate that before I put this vlog up. But I'd rather use those bags than have to buy more bags that aren't giving Australians jobs. That's terrible. Those poor families. Those poor families. And let's face it, it's the low to medium households that are going to be getting these jobs as process workers. You're not going to see blue-collar workers going to a factory making plastic bags, are you? No, exactly. I'm one of those low to medium households. And if my back was fixed and I was able to do the work respectively without having to feel any extra pain, could you just imagine what it would take to stand there hours and hours on end? They actually probably wouldn't. They'd probably be allowed to sit down and take regular breaks here in Australia because we do have laws protecting our workers. And that's another thing. Overseas, they probably don't. No offence to these countries. I love buying multicultural food. So no matter what shopping centre I go to or what outlet I shop through, whether it be Coles, Aldi, Woolworths, IGA, Farmer's Delight, whatever the name of the little grocery store, a local grocery store. If I'm in a local town or something like I support my local town. So I'll shop there. But I will use the same bags. And I can assure you now, and I don't know how many other people are going to follow this, but Woolworths, shame on you. I'm not buying any more of your bags until you start employing Australian people who live here, not necessarily Australian, anyone, to work and produce your bags here, giving an Australian family money to support a family, Australian-owned business. So there you go, folks. The big question is, are you going to continue to buy these bags that are sourced from outside of Australia? Or are you going to boycott Woolworths, Coles and whoever sells these bags until we can make our own people here in Australia producing these bags? Shame, shame on you. And it's not just shame on Woolworths, it's shame on anyone that sends our work overseas. Shame, shame, shame. So from me, I can assure you, I ain't buying any more bags. I will use the current ones that I've got, and that is it. No more 15 cents for me for a bag that you probably purchased for 1/4 cent. Disgusting. Yes, Woolworths. Proud to be Australian owned. The fresh food people. And other businesses too need to look at themselves. Aldi, Coles, okay, IGA, whoever. I bet you any money, if you could source bags from in Australia and they cost a little bit more than what you already pay, that's at least keeping an Australian family, an Australian worker in a job. And I'm not just talking someone that was born here. I'm talking about someone that may have even escaped from their country and came to Australia for freedom, who of course not, who work as a process worker. And it's hard as shit, job as hell. Who come here and support their family and support their country they chose to run to for freedom. Think about it. Think about boycotting the business that doesn't support you in Australian work. Until then, there'll be another time soon when my hair is baked and cooked. See you then, folks. Bye. A friend of mine also brought up a good point, and that good point was, where are the people who make those grey bags? Are they now on the unemployment lines? Or have their hours been reduced? Either way, it can't be a good outcome for them and their families. So I can only hope to God that Woolworths did think about these things prior to actually having these bags made outside of Australia. Yep, the fresh food people and Australian owned. But not in every way. See you next time, fogies.